Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Just Enough Heshy show. And also, welcome back for a 2-week layoff that we had for Passover. I missed all of you. I missed the show. Yes, I went down to Florida. We took some young kids with us, some orphans, a lot of family, and ended up, my wonderful friend gave me a place to stay over there, and we were able to, she claims 22 people, 25 people, who knows how many people coming, going, but we had enough food, and we fed so many people, and thanks to my beautiful sister-in-laws and wife and kids, everybody helped and chipped in, and we all were able to cook and clean, and wow. I even had a wonderful lady, Beverly, helping us over there, making sure the place stayed spick and span and nice. My son came out, my wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous grandson, which I'm giving a shout out to you, Yeshua Emmanuel. I hope I got the name right finally, because they all scream at me. He was there, and I babysat him. He even crashed in my bed. I know he's only 5 months old, but he crashed in the bed. And of course, when he's with his big grandpa, Big H, he didn't cry like he cries with his parents, because he knows that I'm a good man. Anyways, what I want to talk to you about tonight, we have a lot to talk about. I was going to talk more about what was going on with the president election. I was going to talk about some local politics, which I'm still going to speak. I'm going to give you some information what's going on. But I wanted to talk about something that happened today to me. And I posted it on the introduction video today on how they try to abuse somebody's constitutional rights. And if you know the laws, and if you know the regulations, and it's your responsibility, it'll be one of my quotes, you will be able to beat the tyranny. You are grown people. You are American citizens. You're fathers, mothers, uncles, working men, tax-paying citizens. You guys should know that they try to take away your rights, whether they're the fireman or policeman or building departments. You have to know that you are qualified. You are smart enough. You run your life normally. You pay taxes. Or you help other people, or you go to pray. You're not a dumbbell. You've got to figure this out. By the way, anybody, if you want to call into the show, it's me alone. Ezra can't seem to have made it again. 646-974-1581. The number will appear, I think, sooner or later. 646-974-1581 if you want to call into the show. You can speak to me. You can ask me any questions. We're going to talk about my election campaign as well. You could talk about the Pesach thing. It was really, really good, guys. I was right on the beach. I was like 10 steps from the beach in a synagogue a block away. A wonderful man, Mr. Langer, who just welcomed my family in, and we were able to pray with him and talk, and I even spoke in the synagogue. It was very, very nice. And by the way, Florida got flooded. There was like 3 days of drenching rain where the airport actually got flooded up to the wings of the plane. It was like a pool in Fort Lauderdale. But me and Linda and Yaakov, my youngest son, he just is going to Israel tonight to do his final studies in the last 3 months. So he graduated with a bachelor's. Thank you, Yaakov. I got what I wanted. He's going to get his rabbinical studies bachelor's. So we were there. We drove because I had to take down a lot of pots and pans for the holiday. And while everybody was stuck or trying to rent cars to get out of Florida, me and my boy, we just got in our car, we packed up, and we came home, and it took us 19 hours to get there because we stopped off to visit an old man. And coming back, we took us like 22 and a half hours because Washington is like crazy over there. Those crazy politicians, we had 4 hours of traffic. But again, you can call into the show, 646. The number is appearing. I'm pointing. 974-1581, 646-974-1581. I miss Lenny, my friend, the cop. I missed, and I'm going to give a shout out. I gave a shout out already to Yeshua Emmanuel and my gorgeous granddaughter, Amira and Layla. And of course, Sergeant Peter and my friend Ellie. Now, guys, we're going to start our show. I want to first do my little quote and joke. It'll go quickly. And we're going to discuss a lot of different things. But first, of course, we have to remember Ezra Levy. And he is a wonderful man. Ezra Levy is an attorney at law. He helps me with a lot of people that were criminal matters. Somebody got in trouble over the holiday. And, of course, I wasn't around, but he did help me. And we solved the problem. Ezra Levy, specializing in all criminal matters, including weapons possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, DWI, criminal and family court, order of protection defense. Call him at 917-755-1187. His number, again, appears underneath me, 917-755-1187. Or you can email him at EzraLevyLawFirm@gmail.com, EzraLavy LAWFIRM@gmail.com. By the way, in Florida, there's no more gun laws. So Ezra, you're out of business. You do not need a permit to carry a concealed weapon. I mean, and I was down in Florida. The cops down there are just great. They stand by the supermarkets. They welcome you. They say hello to you. They're kind. I know the cops over here are very good. Today I met two wonderful police officers, even though they tried to protect. I'm going to tell you the story what happened. And again, they're not getting the proper help. They're not organized with the police chief. They're not organized with the mayor. The funding is not properly being watched. We need our legislators that are all hiding there, like my opponent, Kalman Yeager, thinking that he can hide in his office and do nothing. And you know what he's busy with? He's busy with, I don't know what he's with, his girlfriends or whatever, but he's busy with just hiding. He doesn't care. He went and I got the signatures to get on the ballot. He's a Democrat, and now he became a Republican, and he's running on all three lines to knock me off. He then sued me and said my signatures were no good. Not only will the Board of Elections approve me, he's now taking me to Supreme Court to say my signatures are fraudulent. Well, let me just tell you something, Mr. Yeager. We checked your signatures. Your signatures are no good, and I'm going to sue you and try to get you off the line because I've raised enough money, and I've had a lot of supporters, and I want to thank my supporters for coming out to me. And guys, you should watch my... you should go to my web link because now that we're going to have a primary, not just a final election, you should hook up to heshytishler.com. I hope it appears on the screen, heshytishler.com. You can donate to me $25, $50, $175, and I get matching funds. You should come in. We're going to have a second round. We're going to have to go to war with Kalman. We're going to have to advertise it, and we're going to be out there. Guys, you want me in city council. You want me to fight. If you would have watched my video today, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. In the meantime, I did the commercial, so let's do my quote of the day because it has a lot to do with the show. George Washington, the first president, one of the greatest presidents, said the Constitution is the guide which he will never abandon. And if you hear today how I fought the police, the fire department, the building department, quoted the Constitution, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and a few other amendments. I had the book with me in my pocket. They couldn't come into the building. They tried. They pushed their way in illegally, and then I got them out. But they were never going to give my guy a violation illegally. Go get a warrant. Go do it legitimately, but they think they can break the rules. Quote the Constitution. And let me tell you what our great Thomas Jefferson said. It is every American's right and obligation to read and interpret the Constitution for himself and herself. You've got to study some simple basic laws, and you can fight them. They can't just come into your house. You're going to see on my video how the fire chief said, well, the door is open, we can walk in. No, the door is not open. And I quoted in the below. He says, well, stop with I'm going to give you a quote what he said, the mumble-jumble law. What do you mean the mumble-jumble? Hear what he says. Stop with the legal mumble-jumble lawyer nonsense. What? You could come into my building, quote me quotes and codes and laws, but I can't give you back the law. It's called mumble jumble. This is the fire chief on 42nd Street, Chief Maga, and another guy, Lieutenant, I forgot his name again, who even cares? They just say they can push their way in. I'm going to do what we want to do. We believe it's unsafe. And I said, I'm here. I'm doing this for 35 years. It's not unsafe. Well, I'm doing it for 22 years. I said, and I walked through the place with him, and I showed him that it was safe. And he's trying to pick and nick and whack, and, oh, they don't have permits, and look at the roof. I said, 1 minute, the building is not going to collapse. The building is in good shape. You're right, they worked without a permit. We'll shut down the building and get a permit. All they wanted to do was punish, punish, punish. You see, you got to know the codes, and I stopped them. Then we called the police. Again, they called the police, and I just stood there, and I was happy the police came. The two police officers came. They wanted to get in, and I quoted them the Fourth Amendment. You can't come in without a warrant. I quoted them the Fifth Amendment. I quoted them the First Amendment. I quoted them the right of free speech and they didn't want me to videotape. I said, yeah, I will videotape. Oh, it's going to be on your show? You better believe it's on my show. Hey, Lieutenant, I hope you're watching the show tonight. You are on my video. You are on my video, Chief. You are on my video. Now, the building department guy was perfect. He knew the law and the code. And he told him, he says, if he doesn't want me in, I can't go in. I'll look from the outside. They said, climb up on the roof. They wanted him to climb up on the roof to give a violation. Climb up on a van. He ended up giving a stop work order and a violation, but nothing serious, stating, listen, seal the job. Don't go back in. You'll get in trouble. Go get the final permits. I said, we're doing it. I said, but you guys know, even the other firemen know, because some of them I helped. You know it takes 8 or 9 months to go through the red tape of this city. 8 or 9 months to get a permit. So you're paying $10,000 a month in mortgage or $2,000. You can't fix up your apartment. You can't change your kitchen. The red tape is so terrible, and that's what I'm going to try to make changes on. Okay, now that I was so serious, I would like to tell you a cute little joke. And it was something because my little son is going away to Israel, and I'm going to miss him. And he's the last one in the house. And me and Linda are going to be all alone fighting with each other every single day. And I've been asking her for more money. And I had a lot of bills to pay over the holiday. It cost me a lot of money to feed 25 people every single day for 8 days. Trust me, and keep the place clean and so on. But I had them cooking. I made beautiful roasts, fried chicken, barbecue chicken, the breakfast that I had to cook for 25 people were crazy, and the matzah pizzas and the cheese omelets. But, we just kept going. And again, my sister-in-laws helped me, and they were all wonderful, and peeling potatoes and peeling carrots. I'm a great cook, guys. I think I should open up a restaurant called Heshy Sushi or Skinny Heshy. As you can see, I finally bought a new suit, everybody, so I'm 80 pounds less. Here's my joke of the day before we start getting serious. It was my turn to read to little Yaakov a bedtime story. And after 20 minutes, my wife screams up, is he asleep? And after dozing off, I heard little Yaakov call back to my wife, Linda, yes, finally. I was sleeping, and Yaakov was up. I was finally, finished telling him the story. He was bored. Anyways, I thought that was a funny story. I told it to Yaakov today before he left, and he said he didn't remember it, but I remembered it clearly. The first 3 words of the Constitution, my dear friends, are the most powerful ones, we the people. You must stand firm. Today, a man had work. He bought a house that was in terrible condition, demolished. And it was been sitting there vacant for 4 or 5 years. And all he went in there to try to make the place safe and clean it up. They said, he was working. And they came into the fire department because the neighbor said the building was shaking, which is a lie. But that's the first thing you do is you make up a lie. So they came down there a few times on the holiday over the last few months, 10 complaints. Finally, today, they came, and the building department itself on April 4th said that the building is sealed and clean and safe. All of a sudden, today, the fire department decided, we're going to break in. Oh, there's workers there. So they were cleaning up. Look, it was a big mess. Well, it's a danger. I said, what danger? The beams are all good shape. Oh, there's holes in the floor. I said, you're right. There are some holes, and we're going to fix them. That's why they're getting the permits. He says, well, we want to go in and inspect again. I said, what difference does it make now or later? When I have the permits, you can come in and see the job. I said, what do you come? Oh, you have illegal workers. I said, how do you know that? Oh, they all ran away. I said, you just make up stories. They know how to come after you because they have these little badges. I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared. You shouldn't be scared of them. Your Constitution says, especially the Fourth Amendment, even if it's a safety hazard, they can't come in without a warrant. And if they do come in, you have a right to object to them. And the building department guy told him, he has a right to object to me to coming in as long as he's here. And on my video, you'll see the fireman said, you're lucky you got there 5 minutes early, otherwise we would have all been in there. I said, well, thank God I was in there 5 minutes early. And now you're not getting in there. He wanted to come in there, and he says, I'm going to jump over the fence. I said, if you jump over the fence, you'll get arrested. You've got to know your rules. You've got to know your rights. I'm talking to you guys seriously because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to city council. I'm going to fight. Mr. Yeager doesn't understand the rights of the people. He wants to sit in office quietly and do nothing. He thinks that it's a joke by suing me and trying to waste my money. He lies to me. He actually lied to me about running as the primary Republican. And I saw that a couple of Republicans helped him, and I don't even understand why. I don't understand why. I like Ina Vernikova, but why would she go and help a Democrat competitor? Why would the Republican committee go help a competitor and get him signatures? 821 signatures they got him. Why would they do that? Because somebody's getting something under the table. Somebody's being taken care of. Now, I had a hard life. I had to raise my children and other kids and nephews and nieces, and I've had issues, and I've come back, and I've worked, and I've used I'm a Jew. Don't get me wrong, I love Israel. Everybody says, why don't you wear an Israeli flag? I'm an American. My blood runs red, white, and blue. My father fought the Germans in the war. My cousin fought on the American army killing Nazis. I've had relatives, cousins, friends fighting in the Israeli army, fighting the enemies of evil, not of their country. Americans or relatives or great uncles or cousins who have served in this country now in the later wars or just plain regular. My father-in-law was in the Korean conflict. He was in the army. So I understand what it is to go through the military. I personally don't. I served 6 weeks as a joke, as a volunteer in the Israeli army, just helping feed animals, but it was something. We have to serve our country no matter what we do, whether it's serving an older man or younger person. But we have to know the Constitution. We have to know our rights. We have to know to tell the police officers when to shut up. You know, when a cop pulls you over, there has to be reasonable, articulate suspicion. It's called RAS. He has to tell you his badge number, his name. Today, they didn't want to tell me. You're going to see on my video their badge number and their name. Till I had to tell them the law. And I said, hey, Chief, tell them what the law is. And he says, well, I didn't read it for a while. But the lieutenant said, yeah, you have to tell them your badge number and your name. They have to identify themselves. That is the law. Read up on the law. It's not complicated stuff to protect you because they'll take advantage of you. They'll arrest you or they'll arrest your kid. It'll cost you a lot of money and they'll take advantage of you. And the judges today, they don't really care when you come before them. You're right. They let the criminals out, the violent criminals out, and the little guys like us that can't get out and don't rob or don't have the money or don't kill or murder and sit there quietly because, hey, that's the law. We think it's the law. They come and torture us even more. It costs us even more. They tax us even more. I was down in Florida and a lot of New York landlords are telling me, yeah, we moved down there. There's no income tax or no state tax and screw New York City. Now that I'm a resident here, I don't have to pay taxes while they raise the taxes on us. I'm not going to do that because I want to pay my fair share. I want to contribute. I want my city to be beautiful. I want my garbage pickups. I want my great sanitation men to help me. They're really wonderful, those guys. Those guys are just great. I love my police officers, don't get me wrong. I'm a supporter of the blue. But when they do something wrong, they have to be told. When an inspector does something wrong, he has to be told. When a fireman does something wrong, he has to be told. When the chief tells me don't forget about the law mumble jumble, but he knows the law, he knows fire code, what does that mean? You're just going to torture them? They had nothing better what to do. They had like 8 firemen standing on a vacant building that had some illegal work done. Not really work, not building a new building, not doing extensions. They were doing interior renovations and cleaning up. That's what made them crazy because a neighbor was jealous. And that happens all the time in New York City. We have to be good to our fellow man. We have to be good to our fellow neighbors. Very serious stuff. You know, the Torah, I'm not going to quote the Torah. We have the 10 Commandments. You know, you can't just choose and pick which commandment, whether you're a Jew or Christian or Muslim. Either you follow or you don't follow the laws. Either you believe in God or you don't. We can't let transgender into our schools. We should have all the schools stand up and pledge allegiance to this great country. This is your country. They do it in Israel. They do it in all the other nations. We shouldn't have people, you know, teaching our children that we don't want them to teach. That's why we have PTAs. We shouldn't let them teach sex education or transgender. Maybe when the kids are older and they want to make voluntary classes, they could. When I get into city council, these are things that I'm going to be fighting and arguing with. Do you know, I told you about the hotel that was $39 million being paid for 237 residents this year? You know, I'm a landlord. I manage buildings. There's no $39 million coming in with 200 apartments. These guys are getting $39 million on one little building, and they're squeezing these immigrants together. And now I hear they're getting $3,000 per person just to spend because that's what they need to live a month. $3,000 per person. I have me, Linda, and 3 kids. It would cost me $15,000 a month just in food to spending money. They're not paying rent. They're not paying electric or gas. They're getting $3,000 per person. I don't know. We need a change. I'm not happy with the mayor. I'm not happy with, you know, today, he says, besides the biggest problem with car emissions is food emissions. Emissions from food. Okay, what kind of food? Is it broccoli? It's meat and dairy. He didn't break down what kind of meat and dairy. Meat and dairy are the 3rd worst emissions in the city of New York. I'm reading it and I'm in shock. The mayor of New York says food emissions is a crisis. Meat and dairy products are a crisis. They're a crisis? I want to eat meat and dairy. What he's going to do now? Make us all vegetarians because he's a vegetarian? This is the way tyranny works. You know, I was watching a congressional hearing, and the congressman said straight out, We know the COVID came from a Wuhan lab. We know you spread the COVID virus. We know it shouldn't have never come to America. Somehow it got here. Somehow there's inside players. Somehow the big rich people either think we're going to be dead, or they're going to try to lower us, or try to make money on us, or try to close down America. Somebody was stating recently that there's a new virus coming out, and it's going to be worse and harder, and it's going to shut us down big time because this was just a test run. What we saw now, what they did to us, should be a teaching lessons to us, never to let them do it again. You want to wear a mask? Go ahead. You don't want to wear a mask? Don't go ahead. You want to take the shot, the flu shot? I don't get the flu. I take the flu shot every year so I can go into the hospital. So my children let me see their kids. That's think that it's good. Never had to do it when my kids were little. Now it's something required. TB shot, the shingle shot. You know, you have to do your research. Tyranny, my dear friends. They put us through it. And yes, our budget went from $90 billion to $9 billion over budget, which you know. So it's $99 billion. Now the city council has approved $107 or $108 billion budget. The state of New York has only a $212 billion budget. They just do things whatever they want to do. You know, the Board of Elections, corrupt agency. I have a few people there that I like. But again, when you submit your signatures, they just knock off signatures from the people that they're friends with, like Carmen Yeager. They knew when I submitted my signatures. They knew that I was on a county committee sheet. They know everything when it's submitted at 11:55. And I want to tell you about Mr. Carmen Yeager, my opponent, which I want to debate with. And I bet you he's too scared to debate because I really believe he's a dumbbell. I really believe it. You should see the way he talks in city council. The man lies, everything that comes out of his mouth. But I figured out it's not a lie anymore. He's just stupid. Now you're going to say, Heshy, you're talking bad about somebody else. Really, talk to him. Call him in his office. I want to see him help you. Can somebody call into the show at 646-974-1581 and tell me that he's helped them, that he's done something for them, or he's called them back after 85 calls? I don't understand. The man just sits there and thinks it's a joke. And he filed documents against me when, on Seder night, when a Jewish religious man has no right to file on a Seder, file on a holiday. Oh, he hired a non-Jewish person who did it for him. You can't have your worker do that. You can't have that. He then went Friday night, last week, and filed court papers suing me in court to get me off the ballot. He's scared that the election results that I might beat him. So he's suing me to get me off the ballot. He once told me personally, I don't care who runs, Heshy. Everybody has a right to run. It looks like Carmen Yeager doesn't feel like anybody has a right to run. He knows how to mess with women and go to bars, getting divorced, not giving his wife a get, or whatever the story is. I don't know what he does. He's a playboy. Big deal. I don't need a playboy. When I have a rabbi or I have a politician, I want to look up to them. I want my children to look up to them. He's too busy, just like the mayor, partying. This is a serious job that you take on. I plan on taking on a serious responsibility. And everybody knows my quote that I keep repeating. It's not your ability. It's your responsibility. Mr. Yeager's a lawyer who never practiced, but it's your ability that you have to use as your responsibility. He's not responsible to the community. And it's not only him. It's so many across the board. We have to take responsibility for our actions. We have to take responsibility for our fellow man. And if you don't want to, don't run for office. If you can't take the criticism, don't run for office. I get criticized quite a bit. And it bothers me sometimes. I'm a grown man. I know what I'm doing. Everybody, you know, my wife and a lot of my clients, matter of fact, today I had 3 clients that said, Heshy, don't run. We need you to do your job. I said, but you know how many people I can help more? He says, we don't care. What are you going to do, make less money? I said, yeah. I said, but how many more people can I help? It's my responsibility as not only as a Jew, but as a fellow New Yorker, as a USA loving red, white, and blue, a citizen, to help my country grow. I live in the greatest city in the world, and they're able to lock us down, pull us over, ticket us, raise our taxes, camera us, and not balance a budget. $108 billion. Where do you think that's coming from? It's not coming from 25% of the people that are struggling. We have 1 million people living in New York City Housing Authority, living like in slums. They're not paying their taxes. They're struggling as itself, and we're giving money to them. So you're looking at 1 million out of 8 million or 7 million residents. Okay? Then you're looking at another 2 million below the poverty line that's barely making it over. They live in regular housing but get Section 8. So now you're looking at almost 50% of the New York population not paying taxes, not contributing because they can't. And they're getting punished and fined and taxed and whatever it is as well. And that's why they're below the poverty line, because even when they're just barely making it, the middle class, they can't make it. So now we have 50% that can't pay. Not all of us are rich. Not all of us are millionaires. We're just barely making it, and we're barely able to pay our regular taxes, which range between 15 to 25%. So if somebody's making $135,000 to $200,000, he's paying about 30, 40, 50,000 in taxes, even if he gets discounts. Now you have to pay for your children's, even if they're in public school, you have to pay for their food, you have to pay for their books, you have to pay for their clothing. Then you have lights, electricity, rent, and if not, mortgage. You're looking at another 70% of your money gone. You can barely put away $200-300 a week. Who's going to be able to pay your college tuition? And the people that have college kids in college have to pay their student loans, or those kids have to pay it forever. The city is not giving us a break because there is no brains on the budget. I know how to cut that budget down. I know how to save taxes. I know how to make city government. Ronald Reagan said very simply, the government is too big. Don't trust the government. We need to be able to cut government spending down. Government employees should be cut by a third just when I start. Their duplicity from commissioners to inspectors. And then once they get into power, the anti-Semitism. You know, New York City is one of the leaders in anti-Semitic attacks, not only on the Jews, which is the Jewish anti-Semitic attacks have gone up by 20% this year. The police can't stop them. And you don't even know half of them that are not reported or not put in categories of anti-Semitism. Murders, shootings, rapes. We don't know what to do, and we have one of the biggest police forces. Why isn't it more organized? Why do we still have crime? Let's just discuss that. Forget crime going up and crime going down. Of course there's criminals, but we should know by now how to do it. We know businessmen know how to run the internet. We know their computer systems don't go down. Why? You're going to see an election on June 27. About a third of the polls are not going to be working or not running or not going to be up in time, or I can't vote, or I haven't voted, or I haven't registered to vote. I mean, everybody, you should be getting a letter from the Board of Elections. And if you haven't gotten one, call up the Board of Elections, or there's an app to check if you're registered and what party. And if you're not, it's very simple. You have to put in your name, you have to put in your date of birth, and you have to put in your address. That's it. Are you registered, and what party you registered with? And if you're not, you can still go down to the Board of Elections at 345 Broadway in Brooklyn and register, and you'll be registered on the spot. All you have to do is pay 25% to get your confirmation paper. Don't tell me you went to the polls, they don't let you vote because you didn't check it. These are little responsibilities. Do it. It's your responsibility. You know, my father and mother were immigrants to this country. And some of our relatives did not want to become citizens. But my father and mother wanted to vote, wanted their voices to heard, wanted to change. Go down and vote. You want to change? Don't just complain. You know, I get minimum of about 20, 30 complaints a day of people that need help. Minimum 20, 30 people a day. Are you voters? You don't have to. I'm willing to help you no matter what. But still, my dear friends, why aren't you voting? Why aren't you registered? Why aren't you taking the responsibility serious? And I'll tell you why. Either you don't care or you only care for yourself. You can't be selfish. You've got to take care of business. I don't know. You know, the lights went out because I was maybe a little upset. I was a little down. But I want you to know now, you must go out and vote. You must register to vote. You can't come primary time and have 500 or 1,000 people come when there's 300,000 people living in a neighborhood. You have 8 million citizens in the city of New York, and what are we going to vote? 10%, 15% of the vote? Oh, it's not a mayoral election? The whole voting process takes you exactly 3 minutes. Really, it takes you 3 to 5 minutes. You're right, it's a pain in the neck to go down there. So wake up 6 in the morning. I'm sure when you have an emergency, you'll get up. Go after working hours. It's open to polls till 9 o'clock at night. Make it your business one day every few years, or maybe even one day a year, because you know all these elections like running all the time. It's your responsibility to get to those polls and make your voices heard. Everybody's telling me, Heshy, on this next election, 2,000, maybe 3,000 people are going to come out for the neighborhood, and Kalman is going to beat you because very little turnout. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I've knocked on doors. I'm going to put out my posters and flyers. You know who I am in the community. You know who I am in other communities. You know when you need trouble in the Bronx or in Brooklyn or Borough Park, who do you call? You can't call Kalman. You call me. This is serious issues. You know, today there was an article in the Yeshiva World, a website that I truly hate because they're very one-sided and prejudiced. And one of their friends, Ezra Friedlander, they knocked because he tried to make friends with, what is her name? The lady Ilian Omar and Rashid Talib. He actually met people who go and hate and straight out say they hate Jews in Israel. He met them in Washington. Now, I like Ezra. He was called an idiot by David Greenfeld, our ex-councilman. But why would he go meet them? What business did he have to do with them? Is it for money? I got you, Ezra. I have no problem with you. If that's what you did it for personal gain, if that's how it happened, fine. But these are people that I hate. Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democratic body in Congress, said that he had an uncle by the name of Leonard Jeffries, who said that the Jews are the ones responsible for slavery in the United States. Really. He was a professor in a college. He also claimed that all the Jews, again, owned Hollywood and owned all the apartment buildings. A hater, an anti-Semite. So they asked Hakeem, he says, I knew nothing about what my uncle did or very little about it. Doing research and listening to other people, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries not only invited his uncle to speak at the college, he was well aware that his uncle was a Jew hater and anti-Semite. Asked his uncle to speak at his college about bad anti-Semitic Jews. And here's one of the most things. He supported this guy Farrakhan from the Louis Farrakhan from the Nation of Islam. He's the leader of your Congress. He's the leader. So you think hate's not going to spread? Now, the Nation of Islam is a place where a lot of people need a place to go, as long as they keep them out of gangs and keep them out of crime. But they do it in a way that spews hate. Now, I'm happy that they're law-abiding and they're trying to make people better and follow the way of God, but don't hate somebody else. Don't spew hate. New York City was doing great before COVID. Things were getting better. The country was doing great under Trump. We were combining as a city. The city was growing, was profiting. People were doing well. I don't know what they did to us in COVID to do this. Split us. That's how it works when you're at war. Split, divide, and conquer. You divide the army, you can conquer them. This stupid war with Russia and Ukraine, I mean, I'm a little disappointed with the Ukrainian president. What did he do? He didn't have to join NATO. You have a big country next to you. I had a client today telling me, there's a big country next to you. They don't want you to join NATO. They were leaving you alone. What happened? He said, no, I'm going to join NATO. Why? They let you go free. I understand they had no right to bully you. At least work your way around. Wait till Putin's not in there. Have talks with him. Discuss why you want NATO. There must have been a reason. Why? For money? Because you need another base? Make a deal with somebody else. You didn't have to do something crazy. Look at the billions and billions, maybe trillions of dollars in damage into Ukraine. For what reason? To make the whole world crazy, the market to drop, oil to go up, to torture the rest of the world? Is it a game? We have to be able to sit down and think rationally. Whatever our antics will do, and even me, could affect somebody else. A lot of the big Jewish rabbis said, we didn't want you to scream during COVID. You embarrassed us. We wanted to stay under the radar. I said, but they were coming after us. I stayed under the radar for 3 months. Their actions caused us more harm. When I went out and screamed and hollered, maybe I did have the big brother on us. But I had to stop. And it did stop. You saw it, Black Lives Matter, when they protested. They got scared of them. When we protested in Borough Park, they got scared of us. They finally stepped back. The police were driving around the streets and screaming in the microphones, get off the street! How do you talk to me like that? Get off the street. Who are you to tell me I can't go to my synagogue? Chief Shea telling me we're not going to go pray? I'm going to pray because God protects me and I'm going to do the right thing. But they actually went around bullying us, coming into our houses, and there's still a law on the books with the governor trying to create some kind of health Nazism. That they're going to, if they feel you're sick, they can lock you up, take you away, and who knows if you die. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day, 80 years since the Holocaust started or something of that nature. We can't forget. We can't forget the people that died. We can't forget a lot of those people that fought in the partisans. They just for no reason did it. And Europe was getting good. You're right, Germany was struggling during a depression, but it was the whole world. What Hitler did was said, you know what, screw the rest of the world. I'm going to fix my country by how? By going to war and taking away the meager provisions from other countries. Europe today is a very powerful continent. They made a European Union. They got together. A lot of the people have become wealthy, have become better because they've stuck together, including Germany as part of that European Union. Hitler could have made a deal, but no, he needed the power. And what did he do? He murdered and killed and let sick people go. America never did that. America did something bad during COVID. They were lost. You know, I hate Biden very much. Forget 47 years of zero and anti-Semitic, and I don't even know how he got to be president. There's a guy by the name of Kennedy running. Yeah, part of the Kennedy clan. He is going to challenge the president as an incumbent. Usually you never challenge an incumbent president. He's going to challenge him. And I'm hoping he beats him. Not because I want the Democrats to win, but I'm failed with the democratic process. I'm failed as a Democrat voter. So I've switched parties because the Republican way of thinking now is the right way. And when the Republicans don't think the right way, I'll leave them. You know, the leaders of the Brooklyn Republican Party supporting a Democrat? Really? Supporting a Democrat? For what reason? You know, this lady, Fran, whatever, from the Conservative Party, she got the guy 38 signatures. We are going to knock him off that ballot because 19 of them are no good. We're going to take him to court and we're going to knock him. 19 of his 38 signatures were no good. I'm hoping that I beat him. I wasn't going to fight him, let him run. I want people to run against me. I want the people to choose. But he's trying to knock me off the ballot so he can get in. Now I've learned from Mr. Felder, who cheated, how to do it. 5 times I beat him in court, and I lost the last time. And I'm going up against his lawyer again, but I have the best lawyer in town, and we're going to beat them. His Democratic signatures are garbage. Garbage. He collected 1,500 signatures. Only 490 of them are any good. Do you understand that? We're filing specifications which we submitted today, and 92 of them are forgeries. He has below the number, but he has people in the Board of Elections that will allow him or try to rule for him. I'm going to take him to court. He's suing me. I collected 1,900 signatures to try to knock off my good signatures. We believe he might even get off 2/3, and that's why I needed my wonderful people out there to give it to me, to come out and help me. I know I'm going to make the ballot, and I know that I've raised good money, and I'm hoping that, again, HeshyTishler.com, that you guys come out for me. It should appear on your screen. HeshyTishler.com, there's a donation button. Donate $25, $50, $100. Come out to support me. Come out to elect me. Join now. You still have time to register to vote till the beginning of June and become a Republican person. Vote even if you don't want to become a Republican, become a Democrat, and then you can vote in the November election. I'm going out to collect new signatures now for the new independent Borough Park Flatbush Party that represents Borough Park, Flatbush, and Midwood. When it comes time to be an independent vote, switch that line as well if you're an independent conservative. It's time to make a change. Stop listening to all the old times. It's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. Change is coming. Here it is. You have the power with just a little ballot to make a change, to let me get up there and scream and holler, Heshy, you can't do it alone. Well, if you're not going to start with 1, you have 0. There's 8 or 9 Republicans that are going to get in this time in the city council. You're right, it's not enough. But with our block of votes, we could maybe get a couple of Democrats to join us and we can make a change. You know, no law can pass without the speaker's permission. How does 3 people control the entire city's laws and regulations and taxes? The mayor, the speaker, and the police chief. That's it. They control what goes on. Who gets arrested. District Attorney Bragg has arrested President Trump. Arrested him and gave him 35 counts. But he let the guy who came to beat me up and two other people out. Gave him a deal. President Trump might be in jail if he's found guilty on all the crimes, 10 years, 2 years, 1 year. This guy got out hands-free till he continued to beat up people. Till he admitted that he beat up a Jew because he wore an Israeli flag. So we knew that it was a hate crime. And you know what? He got 18 months. But President Trump, on national television, President Bill Clinton gave his little person that he cheated with his wife with $850,000. That was a shut-up bribe. He had no problem. But President Trump gave this lady, just to leave him alone, $130,000. And all of a sudden he's guilty of what? I'm not sure. 35 different things they got on him. I can keep ranting and raving all night long, and I want to talk to you about the COVID still again to it. I want you to be careful, guys. They keep telling you have COVID. You keep going, there is no COVID. You don't need to take those booster shots. Nobody's taking them anymore. I'm not telling you not to take them. Do whatever you want. Go to your doctor. Check yourself out. There is no more COVID. The government said that there's no more mandates. There's no more mandates. But New York still hasn't stopped all the mandates. Yeah, it's not being enforced. There's no more mandates. The government says so, and New York still hasn't said there's no mandates. There's a reason. I don't know the reason. They still think that they're going to control us. In city council, I'm going to try to pass legislation that we can recall the mayor. In city government, I'm going to try to pass legislation that does the mayor have emergency powers to shut down a city without the 51 city council votes. You're right, he might control them and own them with money. But again, if the people tell their representative, stop it, it should be stopped. But they had no power to do it. We have a caller on the phone. I got to find out who that caller is. Who's calling on the line? Let's see, he's being hooked in.
Hey, it's me, Lenny. How you doing, Hesh?
Lenny, I want to ask you a question. I was down in Florida. And I saw what the cops do. They stand outside, they walk around, they drive in these highways and long walking, standing by shopping centers, not just the synagogues, shaking their head, shaking your hand, thanking you. Some of them knew me from New York because I guess they watch my videos. The police are more organized there. Crime is down over there. They don't have as much power and money as New York. I'm not blaming the cops here, but Lenny, they're not organized.
We don't have the cops here, Heshy. Everybody's leaving. This is a reality that people have to realize. With the defund the police, nobody backing them up, we don't have the police officers that we had when I was on the police force.
Yeah, but if we help the police officers, but Lenny, if we help the police officers and somehow get more organized, they won't run away. They're leaving town not because so much even the money, because they are good people. They're leaving town because they can't do anything. That's why they're not joining the police force. We're not teaching them the right way. We're not supporting them.
Actually, I want to back up a half hour ago when you said people don't come out. 2,000 people are going to come out to vote. You don't know what you're actually saying. You are so right. Everybody's bitching right now about change. We got to, let me ask you something. I maybe I'm going off the subject, but this is something I want to bring out. Mayor Adams hires a lady to be a rat czar with $150,000.
Say that again. What kind of czar? I want you to I want them to hear it clearly. We have a new czar. What kind of czar?
A lady that's in charge of rats. R-A-T-S. Shouldn't that be the commissioner of sanitation? Shouldn't she? It's a sanitation issue. This man has doled out more jobs with a city that has no money, okay? His ex-landlord is being paid over $200,000 a year. I don't know what kind of deputy commissioner she is. What the hell is going on? They want to now mess with my medical. They want to force Aetna down my throat.
Right.
Because the government will give them $600 million a year, and he could take care of more migrants. Look at what happened in Chicago. 3 Walmarts closed down because of the crime. They just go in and steal. Heshy, when does this madness stop? I know you're running for city council. Let people vote for you. Let's start making changes in America.
Right.
We cannot go on as a country this way. 3 Walmarts in Chicago closes. A rat kazar. A landlord that's being paid $200 and something thousand. Donald Trump became president because he was going to drain the swamp. The swamp is thriving now. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
It's thriving.
Yeah, and I want you to know why he did the rat czar thing, because he was angry at the sanitation unit because one of them gave him a ticket for having rat. You know, there's a new thing today. If you don't have a cover on your garbage can and a cat rips your bag, they say, oh, those little marks are not the cat paws, they're rat paws or they're rat bites. So you get an actually $600 ticket for not covering your garbage cans. But if you put them in garbage bags and put it out for the sanitation, you know somebody's going to rip the bag or whatever, you get a $600 ticket. Now, if you put your can out and it's too heavy, the sanitation men are going to be hard to either empty it or they won't empty it. And this is where your problem is. They'll only take the bags out. You lose no matter what. If you leave the cover on, they might not even take the garbage, or they'll throw the cover away.
Here's another thing, my friend. I was talking to him earlier tonight. He used to own a private sanitation company. Do you remember years ago all those green containers that were in front of the store?
Yeah.
They're not there anymore. Commercial people just put their rubbish on the sidewalk. Don't you remember the 1-yard containers that used to be all over the sidewalk?
Right.
Why aren't they there no more? They kept the rats out.
Again, we are not organized. This city is not organized. The building department they just know how to find them, you know.
Organized spending money.
Right.
He's organizing throwing away money. That's okay.
He throws away money. Right, and even our school system, the public system, the public school system, if you ran it like a charter school, which are profitable, not profitable, but the kids come out with a better education. Our kids are failing. You're right, they're being promoted and they're getting their degrees.
They are being promoted because they're being pushed through. They don't want it on any ledges that they keep that there is a failure rate in our public school systems. So you're creating kids that don't even know what the hell is going on in life.
Right.
It's disgusting.
And again, the parents...
How do we get people? How do we get all these people? How do we organize them? At your level, from city council all the way up to the president of the United States, how do we make people see what's going on in America now is terrible?
I just want you to know we have over 1 million students getting approximately about we were paying about $25,000 per kid. When private schools could be 17, 18,000. Yeah, they're fancy private schools that can cost you $100,000. Little kids in private kindergartens and things that we're paying $12,000 or $15,000 because the parents want them to go to private school. We're throwing away billions of dollars and we're not educating our kids. But the private schools, those kids are being educated. Those kids are being smarter. Those kids are passing. Those parents are involved. We should, again, privatize the public school system. Get it away from the city-run or state-run. I don't know what you want me to tell you, how to do it. I have other solutions. I have other problems. I want to stop the congestion of driving. What the mayor's solution is in the city council, congestive pricing. Let's just tax everybody so they won't drive their car. That's not going to happen.
I've said this 1 million times on your show. How much are they going to go into my pocket? How much are they going to go into your pocket?
Till they eat you alive. And
no more middle class.
Right.
We're going to be extinct.
We're barely making it. I mean, you know, I just finished paying my taxes, and they took the money out of my account April 5th, and me and Linda was like, we're so happy we just barely made it. I mean, you're right, we made some good money, we paid our bills, but we had to pay so much in taxes, and you should have seen all the additions they added on. Forget that all the, you know, we have to pay taxes for when we buy our cigarettes, our food, our milk, our juice, and they all go up, and it goes up by percentage.
They want to control the middle class. They want to keep us under their thumb. This way the Democrats can still get in. Do you see the person of color? She's a judge. She wants to be the head judge.
Right.
She's got half her head shaved off. She let killers out on the street again, and she now wants to be the head judge to look over all these cases. What's wrong with this country? What the hell is Heshy? What's going on?
And the mayor and our mayor, instead of being busy with budget and crime and getting the cops or the traffic officers to control more and be in the subways more, he's busy with food emissions. Really, I never heard this is something new. Food, this is the third biggest problem in New York City, food emissions, meat and dairy. He actually thinks that he's going to control our meat and dairy intake. And I'm scared that he might have the power to do something like that. Thank God he's not going to be mayor more than 6 more years. And I don't even think he'll get reelected, because I think if I get into city council, I'm gonna try to for sure endorse somebody else.
He's giving away the store. He's going around to crowds. He's toting marijuana smoking. Okay? You look at him on the TV.
They were laughing at me in Florida when I was there for Passover, Lenny. They were laughing at me. Your mayor, not only did he approve marijuana, he actually went on national television to give somebody marijuana. They're laughing at us in Florida. They're making fun of us.
This is something that Rod Serling would have had in the Twilight Zone years ago.
Right.
We're living in a Twilight Zone now. Who's the only people that can stop this, Heshy, is us, the voters. But like you said a half hour ago, only 2,000 people are going to come out to vote. But yet everybody will bitch.
And you're going to vote back.
Say anything about Staten Island, we're strictly Republican.
Right.
But our votes go down the drain.
Right.
That's why nobody comes out here. That's why they don't pay attention to us.
And there's no reason to complain, because you're not happy with what's going on. You're not happy with what the city's running. So get up there. You're getting your options. Make the change. But you know what? They're going to vote back in like they voted that little Congressman Nadland. Why would you vote him in? He's sitting in Congress. He wasted money, millions and millions of dollars to try to impeach the president. He didn't worry about the city, the people, the food programs. He kissed some behind for some big organizations and threw them some money. But the trillions.
Democrats better beware, because if Alvin Bragg went after Trump as a Republican, with Joe Biden's White House, with his son, and everything going on with China, he better watch out. Because what one party does, the other party can do too.
Right.
He better watch out.
Right.
And that's why he's not really saying anything about the indictment against Trump. They all ought to be indicted. Drain the swamp.
Right. I was watching a news report stating when one of the news media people asked him, the charges that you made against him, you didn't really explain it all. You know what I mean? He says, well, I don't have to, and I don't have to do this.
It's not a state indictment. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
We're going to blow millions of dollars, and Trump is going to win that fight, and they just want to embarrass him and hurt him and try to knock him down.
Exactly. But you know what? Even if you're a Democrat, you better wake up and see. If they can do this to the President of the United States, and Heshy Tischler is going on 13th Avenue trying to stop small things from happening, wake up, America. Wake up.
You're able to stop it. I'm showing, but I'm showing people, Lenny, but Lenny, I'm showing people you can fight back. There is a way to fight back. There is a way to make changes. There are good laws on the books.
Come out and vote,
Right. Come out to vote.
You gotta be heard.
You will see me stop a lot of this stupid stuff. You will see me fight the budget. I won't allow them to spend money in the stupid ways.
They're going to come after you the same way they're coming after Trump. Why is what's his name still a senator? Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
The man is a waste. He's a valid waste of human species.
Right.
He doesn't do nothing, but yet they vote him in every year.
And not only that, I'm not saying he's too old, but you make a cop retire at 62 or 67 years old. You make the fire department retire. People in businesses, you force them into retirement. These senators and congressmen, 30, 40 years, goodbye. Have a good life.
Nancy Pelosi, $21 million. How did she acquire that money?
He-
How did Nancy Pelosi acquire 20? I've been working. Listen, I started a newspaper route at the age of like 13. Went to the A&P supermarket and worked all my life. Why does Nancy Pelosi have $21 million and Lenny Rice don't?
Right. My father passed away when I was 13. I couldn't get allowance anymore because we were struggling and we had issues and we wanted to be careful. You know what I did? I hung up posters and put in for $5. I used to do it. I used to go like 30 blocks and take like a couple of hundred of these flyers for cleaners.
To survive. Anything to put food
Anything.
on the table.
Anything. I went home to my mother. I said, Mommy, look what I did. I got $5 tonight. And I worked for 2 or 3 hours in the cold, walking around. And every night I would bring home 5 or 10.
Nobody asks why Nancy Pelosi has $21 million.
She's already time to retire. Even there's another one. There's a lady in California, 89 years old senator. Why? Why do we need you as 89-year-old senator? Do you really have the time and patience and the brains? I bet you there's no way she's reading a 500-page bill. She's not reading no 500-page bill. Bull. She's reading a little blog and she's voting on it because all her friends are, and she gets her pension. We have to stop that. I'm telling you now that my competitor, Carmen Yeager,
Joe Esposito, one of the greatest chief of departments we've ever had, and because of the age limit, was forced to retire. The man knew the stuff. The man was well respected, and he had to leave the job because of an age requirement. But Nancy Pelosi, who's approaching 90 years old, could still bang that gavel. Why?
and I want you to know, I remember there was a Chief Scholes that just passed away. Do you know Chief Scholes?
The best.
He loved the community. He wasn't Jewish. He loved the Jews. He loved the non-Jews. He loved everybody. He had a common sense. He knew how to protect you. When we were cutting the locks, they called him and he was angry. I said, Chief, I want the park open. And he was common sense. And he went over to the parks guy, saw him. He says, I understand. You close the parks in another community, but not over here. But over here, you keep them open somewhere else. He says, that's what the mayor said. And he told the parks guy, I don't care who you are. When you close them, you come here. And he let us stay open, and he threw them out, and they came back again, and he was there to protect me. That man had love, not just for people. He had love of this city, and he was a good man, and they forced him into retirement, and he passed away too bad at a young age.
Another one who was because of the age. If you're a chief, if they're doing good work, let them keep going.
Right.
Let them
Or keep the law the same.
We need the upper management. We need the upper management with their skills. Not what we have in today. I'm sorry.
I know,
I'm
Lenny.
sorry.
Lenny, we could sit there and complain from today to tomorrow, and there's another minute to the show. But Lenny,
No, but
I want to.
People got to hear your show.
Right.
They got to realize we got to get more. We got to widen our viewership here. We got to make people understand what we're speaking is the truth. Join Heshy Tisler. Join him.
I love you, Lenny. You love it. And come out to vote or register to vote. Because if not, you're going to have the same guy who's been there for 2 or 6 years, who did not defend you during COVID, who did not come out to help you with your parks, who did not come out to help you with the soup kitchens. He shows up for one day when they're distributing food. He picks up a bag and he does nothing. He does nothing.
Stay tuned, America. New York City might have a mosquito kazaa by the end of the summer. Stay tuned.
I love you, Lenny. Everybody, thank you for listening to the show. Welcome back. I hope you all had a great Easter, a great Passover. Lenny, you should have come down. I did some great cooking down in Florida. I was really good. We had the food going, but you and me got to go out to dinner and start screaming at each other.
With leftover matzah, send it my way.
Oh, God. By the way, I lost 10 pounds doing matzah kills you. I love you. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Thank you, Lenny, for calling into the show. Tune in next week. We're going to have some interesting guests on the show. Good night, my dear friends. God bless you.